0, then there is an error. So after that we want to exit, of course. So inside we pass 0, and basically inside the exit function you can pass anything, 0, 1, exit failure, whatever you like. Okay, so it doesn't make any difference. So after that, what I'm going to do, that I'm going to use the vRead variable that we just created. I'm going to put an equal sign here, and inside that I'm going to use the read function. So here I basically write here read, I pass a few arguments like new socket, comma, and then the buffer, okay, that we have created up here. Here we have, okay, and after buffer I pass the 1024, its length, and yeah, we are done for this line. So we put a semicolon here to end the line. Then we come to the next line, and here we basically simply print f, and we print the size of buffer, %s, and then we write here buffer. Then we write here buffer contains, or we can just write %s, and we go here to the next line. Basically we want to print whatever the buffer contains, right? So we put a semicolon here, and then now is the time to send the request. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, that we're gonna write here send, and inside that we're gonna have a few arguments. So we have, first of all, we have new socket, then we have hey, the array that we created, and after that we basically have a string length function inside of that, which we basically pass hey, we put a comma here, 0, and then we put a semicolon here. Okay, and after that we basically have a printf function here, printf, and inside this printf I'm gonna have hello, message is sent. Okay, so after that we're gonna put a /n here, then we put a semicolon here. Now we come to the next so here we can write hey, message sent. Okay, so now basically we are all done. Okay, so this is the server side code. Alright, so let me just name it instead of C program.c, you could name it as server program.c. Okay, so let me just call it server program, or S program. So what I'm gonna do, then I'm gonna close it, I'm gonna go my file here, and I'm gonna name it as server program instead of C program. So now if we open it, so we have this code. Okay, let me write the client side program, and then I'll explain to you the code in detail. Okay, so we just go ahead and we basically name this C program, because that was an S program, so we call it C program dot C, and we basically open it. Let me just copy the socket code, because there would be a few things that would we would be needing. Paste it, and there are a few things that we need here. Okay, so for example, we just need instead of this here, we need here another header file, which is gonna be arpa slash inet.h. okay, so inet.h. so the other files, stdio.h, socket.h, and then uni.std.h, string.h, so we need all that. We don't need this one. Okay, so now these are all the header files that we need. we need to define the port 8080, and then we have a few things which we still need. Okay, so here we just need this vread variable. Alright, and here we would have an integer variable, let's call it socket, or let's call it sock1, and we put a comma here. So these are the two variables that we need. Then let's say we have the structure and socket addrn, let's keep it that way. So this is the structure that we need, and then we have the character. Let's just remove these two lines. Okay. So we need a buffer like this, we need a hey message, and now I say hey, I am a client. Okay, that's what I can say. And then basically what we are gonna do, that we're gonna have an if condition here, and instead of server fd, we're gonna have here the socket equals, or excuse me, sock1 underscore 1 equals, and that basically have these arguments af inet, then we have sock stream comma 0 is less than 0 here. Okay, and I think we have made a mistake here somewhere. Here we also need to have less than 0. Okay, so that I have written double equals 0 by mistake, I guess. So now basically you have to have this error message here, socket failure or socket creation failure, you can say, if you want to be more precise, socket creation failure. And then you have the exit. Then here you can also return -1. Okay, so -1 means that basically it would simply exit. Okay, so after that what you're gonna do, that you're gonna write here after the if block. Okay, so you're gonna write here, let me just write here, address dot sin underscore family equals af underscore inet semicolon, and then you're gonna write here address dot sin underscore port equals, then you write here HTONS, and inside here you write port as well, you put a semicolon here, and then you basically you're going to convert the IP address to the binary. Okay, because computer understands binary only, so you're gonna have here complete different if conditions. So we just remove all of this that we don't need. Okay, bind, and we remove the listen as well, and the end socket as well. So we remove the code tail here. We need the v underscore read, however. Okay, so we keep it that way, and here we start writing the if conditions. So we write here if, and then we write here inet underscore pton, the method that we're gonna use, and then we pass here af underscore inet. Okay, and after that I'm gonna write here the local host address, which is gonna be 127.0.0.1. you can also write local host here, and then I'm gonna put here a comma, then and then I'm gonna write here address, okay, the structure name, and dot sin underscore addr. Okay, and then I check here if that is less than or equal to 0. Then after that, what I do, I come here, and inside of this I write here invalid IP address. Okay, so we write here printf, and we say invalid IP address. Okay, then we return basically -1. We come out of here, we have another if block which would be for connecting. Okay, that would be the connect method. So for that, what we would do, would write here if, and inside of that we would have connect, and inside connect would basically pass a few arguments. So we write here sock1, and then we basically create a structure, and that structure is going to be sockaddr, let's say. Then after that, as we always do, we write here address, and then we put a comma here, we write here size of, and then we pass address. Okay, and then we write here less than equal to 0. Then inside of that we're gonna have a printf connection failure, and you can return 0, or you can return exit, and you can basically exit here, or you can return -1 as well. Okay, so now we are all done. So just one line here that we need to add. Okay, so just one thing here, we can also, we have to send here first. Okay, so that's it. And now let me explain to you a few important things. So first of all, let's discuss this socket method. Okay, so what this socket method does, that basically the first argument that you see here, this is af_inet, this is a domain. This SOCK stream, this is a type, and this 0 here is the protocol. Okay, so you know, domain af_inet is the IPv4 protocol domain, okay, communication domain, and af_inet6 is for IPv6 protocol. So if you talk about the communication type, which is SOCK stream, it is a TCP connection. Okay, so it's a reliable connection oriented, and there is another SOCK_dgram, which basically is for UDP, and that is a unreliable connection. Okay, so protocol value is for internet protocol IP, which is 0 here. This is the same number which appears on protocol field in the IP header of a packet. Okay, so next method that we have here is the set sock opt. Okay, so the first thing that we have here is the integer socket FD, or the server FD. In our case, we have named it that way. Then we have SOL_socket, which is the integer level. Then we have the opt name, okay, the next argument. Then we have the opt value. Then we have socket length, opt length. Okay, so basically this method, it helps in manipulating options for the socket referred by the file descriptor, and that is basically socket FD. Okay, and in our case that is basically server FD. This is completely optional, but it helps in reuse of address and port, so it prevents errors such as address which is already in use. Okay, the next method that we have here is the bind method. Okay, so after creation of the socket, bind function, it binds the socket to the address and port number specified in the address. Okay, so the code that we have done here, we bind the server to the local host. Okay, so hence